This year's fall play is Othello. The student performance is on November 29th. The general admission performances are on Thursday, November 29th at 7, Saturday, December 1st at 7, and Sunday, December 2nd at 2.
The story of how we chose Othello is actually really interesting. We weren't actually initially supposed to do it. I had some students who really pushed me to do Shakespeare and specifically Macbeth. And then as it turned out during auditions, we realized that we just didn't have all of the parts needed to audition. And I looked around the room and I looked at the people who were auditioning and how they were doing, and I said, this isn't the cast for Macbeth, this is actually the cast for Othello. And so in the middle of auditions, we switched over to a different show, and it actually ended up creating a little bit of excitement and a little bit of buzz at that moment. People were skeptical at first, but I think that they actually I think that they realized that it was probably the right decision to make now, and that they're pretty happy with it. Some of the characters who are real players in the show and the ones who have the biggest impact are definitely Othello, who's played by Isaiah de la Cruz, Desdemona, who's played by Monica Betts, and Iago, who's played by Quentin Gigax. The storyline is based off of this notion that Othello, at the beginning of the story, has run off and married Desdemona, who is the daughter of one of the senators in town, and they basically eloped without his knowledge and stuff. And Othello, being a general in the army, sets off a giant chain of events. And the story deals a lot with trust and mistrust. Iago is actually the villain of the story. He's the antagonist, and interestingly enough, he's the only antagonist in all of Shakespeare who has more lines than the hero. He sets about this whole entire act of deception in order to break up the relationship between Othello and Desdemona, and also to basically dishonor Othello because he got passed up for a promotion. We started our preparation just after Labor Day with auditions, and we've been rehearsing steadily every single Tuesday and Thursday evening since that started for 3 to 4 hours practice. As we get closer on, it's going to definitely increase. And then on top of that, we also have our set constructions on Sundays. We had to wait for other things to get done in the auditorium, but now that those are out of the way, we're going to be heavy into set construction, costuming, and all that stuff. So we still have a long ways to go, but we've put a lot of work in so far, and it's a couple months worth overall, especially with something like Othello, where memorizing Shakespeare is pretty difficult, but the students are rising to the occasion.
The character that I play in the fall play is Othello. He is the Moor of Venice, which is essentially just means he's the only black guy in all of Venice, Italy. The reason why I chose to be in the play is because, well, last year I discovered my love of acting, and I kind of just built off of that. So I auditioned, and I got a pretty good part. Definitely my favorite scene right now that we've blocked is probably the first fight scene that we have, where Christian Cantu's character gets in a fight with another character, and it is this cool fight scene because he's drunk, so it just kind of spirals out of control into like this whole mess, and then I have to come intervene where I hold a gun up to his head, and it gets intense.
I play the part of Desdemona, which is Othello's wife, and I chose to be in the play because it's kind of an annual thing for me to be in the play, and acting is my passion. My favorite scene would probably have to be with Uzziah, which he plays Othello, is the scene where we have our first fight and he almost hits me.
I play the character Iago, and I chose to be in the play because, you know, I've always sort of been interested in acting, and it's something I've kind of done all my life, and I've done it all my high school career, so it's kind of just something I always do. I think my favorite scene has to be where my character Iago and the character Rodrigo are speaking to each other, and Rodrigo's character is essentially telling my character well, he's going to kill himself because his love has found another man. And my character, being a very insensitive person, kind of just is joking with him and starts messing with him, telling him, hey, I won't be your friend if you kill yourself, and stuff like that. And I just really love like the dynamic of the scene, because sometimes my character seems like he genuinely cares for Rodrigo, but then other times I come through and you really see how my character feels about this guy, and I'm just, Iago is just a stone-cold evil guy who cares nothing about this man and is only using him for his money.
Tickets are $5 at the gate, general admission for everybody, and we hope to see you all there.